I'm Dean Leander Harding. I'm the Dean of the Cathedral of All Saints in the City and Diocese of Albany in the Episcopal Church.
I'm Father David LeFort. I'm the rector of the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception in downtown Albany and the Roman Catholic Diocese of Albany. Wonderful. Well, Dean Harding, it's been a good couple of years. We've known each other now 2.5 years. You were assigned here to the Diocese of Albany about 3 years ago, I believe.
Well, I've been here I've been in the diocese probably going on 6 years now. I had originally, I'd been a parish priest for 26 years. I spent 8 years teaching at one of our seminaries, and then I'd come to a country parish in Catskill to retire. But the Lord works in mischievous ways, His wonders, His wonders to perform. So I came to the cathedral 2 years ago, Palm Sunday. So this will be it'll be 3 years now, this Palm Sunday. And you were assigned to Immaculate Conception.
Just a little bit after.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So we're kind of, and we also have a kind of an interesting overlap in that you are the rector of the cathedral. Roman Catholics, their cathedrals and their seminaries have rectors. Anglicans, their cathedrals and their seminaries have deans. You're the rector of the Roman Catholic Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, and you're also the Vicar General of the Roman Catholic Diocese. And I'm the Dean of the Cathedral of All Saints, and I'm Archdeacon, which is about as close to Vicar General as we get in our so we have a lot of misery to share.
And when we have these conversations about our other positions, it's amazing we don't cry or fight.
I know.
We're always still, but I find that our friendship, we get together for dinner typically every other month, every 3 months, at least 4 times a year, just so that we can continue to develop our own friendship and share our own passion for Christ, for the church, and then our experiences of faith in everyday life for our people too. Yeah. You know, if I look at the covenant that we're celebrating over 31 years between our two cathedrals, an awful lot of what we've been doing together these last few years, and we're planning so much more for the future, that brings our communities, our faithful together to experience what is it we have in common? Our faith, our love of Christ, our love for His family, our brothers and sisters, and our service to them. I know that you and I are both a little bit intellectual.
Yeah.
And so we do appreciate good theology.
Yeah, indeed.
And so that's the one each year that we put most of our energy in, to getting a good theologian or a good reflective intellectual to share with us some beauties that we might not be aware of.
Right, right. Well, and I want to say something about that, which is that I think ecumenical solidarity is very important. I've always thought it was very important. I thought it was important when I was a parish priest, but I think you'll appreciate this. When you're a parish priest, you're so busy trying to find the Sunday school teacher for the 4th grade that you're aware of the ecumenical issues, and I was always in favor of that, and I would, go to things and be part of things when I could, but you're really trying to take care of the parish. That's your overwhelming preoccupation. When I got to the seminary, and I had could step back a little bit, I really saw how really absolutely indispensable ecumenical solidarity is to evangelization in our time. One of the great questions of the human heart is there indeed one family of God? And so I think the divisions of the church are sad. We pray about that. We work about that. But in the meantime, we can certainly have a solidarity in a very basic proclamation of the very essentials of the Christian faith. And that's what we're trying to do by bringing Dr. Zelensky to town, is that she happens to be a Roman Catholic lay theologian, but her witness is a very basic witness that Christians of almost any denomination could get behind as support.
It transcends all of that to what's our human experience and what do we long for as human persons made by God and for God. It's interesting when I look at the experience of the community in downtown Albany, I think that we give a very good witness when we do things together, We were doing a procession at one point as Roman Catholics, and we were going through some of the streets in our neighborhood, our South End, and there was a young family on the stoop, and the youngest child said, "Look at that. Who is that?" And the older brother, probably about 12, said, "That's a big church family." It was wonderful. And of course,
great.
now me, I'm just a part and parcel of the neighborhood. So I stopped and thanked them for letting us walk through their neighborhoods and welcoming us. And I can see that with that kind of interaction, it doesn't require them to have the faith that I have. It simply requires them, invites them to be open, to be willing to engage in a relationship. And the reason why you and I do it is because we know that Christ is the center.
Yeah.
And so when you and I share our priesthoods together, it's a real blessing for me, and it's a real blessing for the people that see us.
Yeah. Well, I've been very blessed by our friendship and your gracious invitation to me to come to your cathedral and to do the things there. We've had you come to the Cathedral of All Saints. One of the things that we're doing now on a routine basis is once a year we have a service of evensong, and that's a liturgy that we can share. It's not a Eucharistic liturgy, so it's a liturgy we can share. And evensong is one of the things in the Anglican world that is our gift.
Yes.
When Rowan Williams, the Archbishop of Canterbury, had Benedict XVI come to Westminster Abbey, they did evensong, and about 2 weeks later the Pope had that choir come and sing in the Vatican. So it's something that we can do. It's a service that we can share. And there is this common devotion to Our Lady of Walsingham. It's called the English Nazareth. And it's in both of our calendars. And so we have the service once a year in October at the cathedral, and we always have a Roman Catholic preacher. And so you've preached. Bishop Schaffenberger has preached. Father Kane has preached. Next year we're going to have a former student of mine at the seminary where I taught, who now is a priest in the Byzantine Rite of the Roman Catholic Church. And so that's something that we do, that we do together. And we're really exploring this. We're really trying to figure out how these two beautiful churches that make a witness to the people of this city about the beauty and the majesty of God, how we can cooperate with each other in giving a common Christian witness in the midst of a secular city.
And I know that you and I talk regularly about this whole idea of beauty.
Yeah.
And what does she really mean?
Yeah.
And I know that we are intending, at least in the next few years, to try and have a series of simple reflections, maybe even during the daytime, maybe one day a week at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, another day that week at All Saints Cathedral, but in the midst of the day, allowing people an opportunity to sit and be quiet, listen to the beauty of the buildings,
Right.
listen to the beauty of the smells, the experience, the quiet,
Right.
the stillness. And when you sit in either one of our cathedrals, beauty is all around you.
It is.
And we want to be able to then share with people, this beauty is objective. Where does she come from?
Right.
You know?
One of the fascinating things, I think we see this in both cathedrals, is that people come in as tourists, or they come in for some maybe a concert
Right.
or something like that, and you can see that something comes over them.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed, they begin to think of higher things. So we've got common challenges, and I think it's very, very important that we're in partnership, in common witness.
And the city needs us.
Yeah.
That's something that, if I didn't have a flock that needed me, I would ask for a move.
Yeah.
But I know that in the midst of the legislature, the political actions here in downtown Albany, our capital, it requires that God somehow be able to be present. Right now, I hope I'm tolerated by the city. I hope you're tolerated as well. But I think our working together, our joy that we share in public when we do meet together, that allows people to reconsider the invitation. Will they let us come in?
Yeah.
Will they let us share our experience, the beauty of who we are, and what we stand for?
Yeah.
And we can only continue to do that work.
Yeah. We should maybe say a little bit about the elements of our covenant together. It really, 31 years old, going on 32 years old. I mean, it's really a remarkable thing. It was absolutely cutting edge in its day. I mean, it was a pioneering ecumenical effort, and there were 4 elements to the covenant. Joint worship, which we right now, Our Lady of Walsingham is the big thing that we do for joint worship. Although it's been tradition that we also attend each other's Stations of the Cross during Lent, so that's coming up.
And we also had you for the Heart of the Priest.
Well,
St. John Vianney's
that was quite an experience. I would have to say that that is the greatest honor that I have had in my career as a priest. I would put that above getting a PhD.
It was our pleasure.
You know, and I think I told you that when Father invited me to speak when the relic of St. John Vianney was at the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception, and to speak on the priesthood. I've written a book on the priesthood, and so I came and I held up a little book that I have called The Manual of a Priest, which was put out by an Anglican monastic order many years ago. It's kind of they're hard to get. It's a little bit of a relic. My bishop asked me to borrow it the other day, and I said, yeah, you got to give it back, though, you know. But it belonged to a priest who was a missionary to the Navajos, an Episcopal priest who was a missionary to the Navajos. And if you open it up, pasted into the cover is a picture of St. John Vianney. So I've been carrying around St. John Vianney with me for over 30 years. I said when I spoke at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, I said, God makes his appointments 30 years in advance.
And you've been showed up.
Yeah. So, but I was very moved by that, and that was a great.
It was a blessing for us too, and to have the incorrupt heart of John Vianney, and he's the patron saint of parish priests, and really encouraged us in at least 2 very important sacraments: the Eucharist and reconciliation. And I think that experience that the faithful had, we had over 3,000 come and venerate that relic.
I was very moved to see the crowds. I was really something.
A lot of confessions, really good confessions. So it was a great day. So joint worship is one of the things.
Joint worship is one of the things, and you know, our traditions, the Episcopal Church, the Anglican Communion, it's a broad church, and there's sort of more Protestant leaning and more Catholic leaning elements. But this diocese and this cathedral, the founding vision is really the Catholic revival in the Anglican world, and so you know, that's very feels meet and right, to use the prayer book language, to us to be trying to find ways to have joint worship with our Roman Catholic brothers and sisters. So joint worship, fellowship, which we have, and now we've had a dinner where we have 2 couples, and in one case the man goes to the Cathedral of All Saints and the wife goes to the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. In the other case, it's the other way. Right. So we've got.
And they're great folks. And in fact, you know, I found I had not experienced that too much prior to being here in the cathedral, and those 2 couples, very much I can see a passion that they both have for both faiths.
Indeed.
You know?
Indeed.
A real respect and a reverence.
A real respect for each other, and they each spouse participates as conscience allows in the events of the other, and is really conscious of wanting to support their spouse in their faith. So that's very beautiful. So we have joint worship, we have joint fellowship, joint service, and joint education. So those are the things that we're pursuing. You know, so it was groundbreaking 31 years ago. You know what? It's still groundbreaking.
Yeah, and it's still very much alive. You know, I was not aware of the covenant. Believe me, before I was assigned to the cathedral, you were the one that called me and shared with me your desire to share passion about this covenant. And as soon as I heard about it, it sounded like just a wonderful venture that we could continue to carry on. So I'm looking forward to the next 31 plus years to work together.
Me too. So we're partnering together to bring to town Dr. Carol Zielinski, who is a professor at Smith College. She's a professor of religion. Her research area is near-death experience. But she's also a Roman Catholic lay theologian, and everything that she writes about the Christian hope for the life of the world to come is something that any Christian who is a biblical, Christocentric person can get behind. Her teaching is broadly ecumenical, I think, in that sense. So she's going to talk about the thirst for immortality, near-death experience, and the Christian hope. And she's going to speak at the Cathedral of All Saints on Friday night, March the 27th at 7 p.m., and then on Saturday morning.
So Saturday morning, March 28th, at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, she will join us again at 10:30 in the morning. And she's going to continue her reflections on those same topics. So whether you come to one or the other, or both, which is a great deal.
Right, because you get the same price for one ticket.
Yeah.
One ticket gets you into one, both, or...
And we're good stewards of Dr. Zaleski's time and talent.
Right.
And so we're really hoping that people who have a desire for what happens in eternal life,
right.
and even those people who are not going to be Christocentric, they still have that question. Is this all it is?
Right.
And she's going to provide an ambiance that could propose there is something more.
Well, one of the things that she talks about is that, are we justified in hoping?
Yeah.
Are we justified in hoping? You know, St. Paul says, if in this life only we hope, we are of all people to be the most pitied. And so, this, as I say, this is a topic of universal relevance.
Absolutely.
So, and I was so excited because this is just what I've been praying that we would be able to do, which is come together around a witness to a very basic, very just, Christianity 101 kind of doctrine.
And it won't draw any distinction, because there's no distinction between what we believe about hope, about eternal life. So I'm excited.
I'm excited.